So we see how Moshe got this rod. And I hope you're beginning to see where we're going here. All right? Exodus 4, 1 through 17.
Then Moshe answered and said, But suppose they will not believe me or listen to my voice. Suppose they say, Yahuah has not appeared to you. So Yahuah said to him, What is in your hand?
What's in your hand? So here's Moshe making up all these excuses. He's not out of excuses. By the time you get to Exodus 4, he's still making excuses. What if they don't listen to my voice? Suppose they won't even believe I appear to you. What if they become non-believers? What's in your hand?
He said, A rod.
A rod.
And he said, Cast it on the ground. So he cast it on the ground and became a serpent.
He cast a rod on the ground and it became a serpent. This is no ordinary rod.
And Moshe fled from it.
Sure, it scared him. When it turned to a snake, he took off. You throw a stick on the ground, let it turn to a snake and see, won't you take off? This snake was powerful and poison and deadly and all that stuff. It wasn't no little weak gardener snake. Oh, it's a cute snake. You won't run from a cute garden snake. People keep garden snakes for pets.
Then Yahuah said to Moshe, Reach out your hand and take it by the tail.
Reach out your hand and take it by the tail. Man, you got to believe the Most High when he tell you to pick up this poisonous, deadly looking snake that can rip around and bite you before you know it. Take it by the tail.
And he reached out his hand and caught it and became a rod in his hand.
So what's going on here? Moshe is beginning to learn the power of the Father. See, you're about to get to the point where, okay, now I believe you and nothing else can anybody say make me disbelieve. Now I'm ready to do whatever you told me to do. He had to see some things, and he's seeing it now.
That they may believe that Yahuah, Elohim of their fathers, the Elohim of Abraham, the Elohim of Yishkak, and the Elohim of Yaakov, has appeared to you.
This is for them to believe.
Furthermore, Yahuah said to him, And put your hand in your bosom. And he put his hand in his bosom. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous, like snow. And he said, Put your hand in your bosom again. So he put his hand in his bosom again, and drew it out of his bosom. And behold, it was restored like his other flesh.
So he did another miracle here. He's proving himself. Listen, this wasn't for the people only. Moshe had to become a believer. Moshe didn't know the power of the Father. He hadn't seen it. He's beginning to see it. Many of us will go in the wilderness not understanding, believing or knowing the power of the Father. And then they're going to see it. The question is, what are you going to do after you see the power of the Father? What are you going to do then? See, some of them saw the power and still walked in disobedience.
Then it will be, if they do not believe you, nor heed the message of the first sign.
So you've done 2 signs, and it may be a chance they still don't believe you.
That they may believe the message of the latter sign. And it shall be, if they do not believe even these 2 signs, or listen to your voice, that you shall take water from the river, and pour it on the dry land. The water which you take from the river will become blood on the dry land.
So take the water from the river? Son, what river?
River Mizraim.
Thank you. Make sure we put that in there. So we know where the people dwelling at. Because we don't know where we're supposed to dwell. The river, take water from the river of Mizraim and pour it on the dry land, and it will become blood on the dry land. This so that they'll believe.
Then Moshe said to Yahuah, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue.
So he's still going off a little bit here.
So Yahuah said to him, Who has made man's mouth?
He's angry. He's angry. Once he gives a command, he expects us to do. He wasn't used to people like Moshe. He was used to Abraham. Don't forget, he just got finished with Noah, Shem, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Yahuah. He just got finished with these men. This comes after not living around the people, living around other people, in the land of your captivity. We lose it. We lose it. You put Abraham, you put all those mighty men in a situation that Moshe was in, they would do the same thing.
Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Have not I, Yahuah? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth, and teach you what you shall say. But he said, O my Lua, please send by the hand of whomever else you may send.
So he told him to go. Now therefore go. See, this him telling us, go up out of her, move out of the midst of her. But we can't go because it's spiritual. And he gonna come get us. And he's saying go, and we making up excuses.
So the anger of Yahuah was kindled against Moshe.
So when you don't come out of her, the Most High anger will be kindled against the people.
And he said, Is not Aaron, the son of Louis, your brother? I know that he can speak well. And look, he is also coming out to meet you. When he sees you, he will be glad in his heart. Now you shall speak to him, and put the words in his mouth. And I will be with your mouth, and with his mouth. And I will teach you what you shall do. So he shall be your spokesman to the people, and he himself shall be as a mouth for you, and you shall be to him as Elohim.
So he shall be he's going to be the mouth for you, and you shall be a mighty one. You're going to be as a mighty one to him. Why? He got the rod. The power's in his hand.
And you shall take this rod in your hand, with which you shall do the signs.
And you shall take the rod in your hand, that you shall do the signs. All right. Okay. So Moshe had the rod. This rod went all over the place. This rod been back and forth to Egypt. This rod been going in and out of Egypt. All this time, the rod been going in and out of Egypt. When Abraham went into Egypt, the rod was with him. He came out. We had Yaakov. He was in the land. He had the rod in his hand. He went down into Egypt with the rod. Here we go. Then he gave the rod to Yahuah. The rod came out of Egypt again. Then the rod ended up in Moshe's hand. The rod is about to go back to Egypt. Family, we don't know the Most High's appointed times. We don't know his word. We don't know where we're supposed to be. We don't know these things. And here is Moshe with the rod in his hand going back to Egypt. We're in the last days. The rod will come back to Egypt, Mizraim. And the people will go back under the rod once again. Now, when is this going to happen? This is what we didn't see. When Moshe got the rod in his hand, that's when he was under it. Moshe himself was under it. When he brought the rod to the people, they were under the rod before they went to the wilderness. And this will be the same with us today. We will be under the rod. When you see the rod, you under the rod. How can we make this statement? Though the sea has to be parted, family. Who's going to part the sea? We have to go back through the same journey. We've been talking about the sea being parted. Who's going to part the sea? There will be a man with the rod in his hand. You're going to see the rod. And this rod will be part. It's going to be the miracle. This is how the miracles going to be done. Through this rod. Miracles will be done for the people to see before they get to the wilderness. And this is when the people will be under the rod. Now, let's back what we're saying. We're going to back what we're saying here. What do you mean Moshe was under the rod? Moshe under the rod too? Was Moshe under the rod?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Moshe was under the rod.
He was in danger.
Moshe was under the rod. There's no exclusion when it comes to being under the rod. And when you under the rod, it's on. It is on when you under the rod. But we didn't know when. We thought we had to be at the meeting at the mountain. No. See, this is the part we miss, family. No. Let's see it. Joshua 79, 8 through 12.
And Moshe rose up to go to Mizraim.
So here's Moshe with the rod About to leave where he's at Midian and going to Mitzrayim.
And he took his wife and sons with him.
Uh-huh.
And he was at an inn in the road. And Malach of the Most High came down and sought an occasion against him.
So a Malach came down and sought an occasion against him? Whoa, wait, back up. Moshe is the Most High's man. What are you talking about? There's an occasion against him? There's some type of iniquity that happened? Yes, there's an iniquity that happened. Can he get the offering and offer up the offering for this iniquity? No. He's under the rod. He's doing something that will get you killed. See, family, this is deep. It's one thing to give your offering for an iniquity that you did or a trespass that you did. It's another thing to commit iniquity, and the judgment is death. So he did something that caused death, son. What did he do?
And he wished to kill him on account of his firstborn son.
So this Malach wished to kill Moshe. Wait a minute, Moshe the deliverer. If we had solved this, we would be fighting against the Malach. That's what we would have done. Automatically. And we would have thought, this is an evil one. We would have been on Moshe's side and we would have been fighting against this Malach. But we would have been fighting against the Most High also. That's why the scriptures say, in all you're getting, get an understanding. Understand both sides. You better talk to that Malach and ask whose side is he on. You better find out from him, and he has to tell you that he was sent by the Almighty on this account. Because of this, now you know what side he's on.
Because he had not circumcised him.
He had not what?
He had not circumcised him.
Son, Shaul says circumcision is nothing. Circumcision is nothing, family. That's blasphemy. Right there in the Bible. I'm supposed to teach this? Or did I misunderstand when he said circumcision is nothing? See, the Malach didn't have Shaul pinned up about to kill him because his son, here's a deep point, because his son wasn't circumcised, or because he wasn't circumcised, or because he was teaching against circumcision. Why not? Shaul wasn't under the rod. Shaul never been under the rod. But don't get it twisted. Don't try to go in the house of the Most High. You ain't supposed to be in there. Don't think they won't kill you. See, that was war. He was bringing a curse on all of them. That was war. Shaul was away from the land. Shaul could do anything he wanted to do. And there was no judgment, no punishment. Remember, out of his own mouth, he's a Roman citizen. Told y'all this thing is deep. Shaul was never under the rod. He stayed away from the rod. Please, somebody, tell me, son, you hadn't read all of Shaul's letters yet.
I haven't read it all.
Please, someone tell me, where did Shaul talk about the rod? The rod meant nothing to him. Just like circumcision meant nothing to him. But here we see Moshe. We see Moshe about to be killed because he didn't circumcise his son.
And had transgressed the covenant which Yahuah had made with Abraham.
So he transgressed the covenant that the Most High made with Abraham. Wait a minute, Abba. If we don't get our kids circumcised, they don't get killed for that. I know Torah. You don't get killed from them not being circumcised. They just get cut off from among the people. Go away. Cut off. Get out of here. And here it is. He's killing Moshe. He's about to kill Moshe. Moshe was of Louis. Moshe was high up in there in authority. There's a heavier price for them to pay.
For Moshe had hearkened to the words of his father-in-law.
He what?
Hearkened to the words of his father-in-law.
If you hearken to the words of your mother, your father, your children, and it's against the words of the father, no one understands he's going to be your enemy.
Which he had spoken to him, not to circumcise his firstborn son. Therefore he circumcised him not.
He told him not to circumcise his son. Moshe was in his home. He's trying to abide by his rules. He even asked for permission to go to Egypt, may I leave and go down to Egypt and